What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Wrestling with Laughter. Today, we're going to go over Raw and give our thoughts and opinions on Raw, and I'm going to do it the same way I did it last week. I'm going to start with the first promo segment and go through all the matches, and then we'll go through the backstage segments after we go through all the matches. But, man, what a card that we had tonight on Raw. Starting off with the Usos coming out and being the old Usos and giving their promos and being interrupted by the Vision. And we're going to apparently get that match at WrestlePalooza, the Usos versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. So, but during their promo, they made mention of Paul Heyman and apparently what Paul Heyman looks like. Anyways, and then we got interrupted by LA Knight, which started beating up the Vision. And then it led down to the ring, and LA Knight and Jey Uso was in a corner together. LA Knight moved out of the way, and Jey Uso didn't, and took a splash from Bronson Reed, which leads up to later in the night. But that was the end of the segment, and we moved on to AJ Styles and El Grande Americano, which was an actually decent match. I liked it. I'm glad AJ Styles did not eat a pin here. I figured they were going to give the win to El Grande Americano, but they decided to go with AJ Styles, which was the right choice. And they put on a decent match. And then we move on to the next match, which was Raquel Rodriguez versus Lyra Valkyria. Again, really good match. Raquel, I see her being a future women's world champion. She's on a heck of a run right now. She looks great in the ring. And I just think this being a part of the Judgment Day and being with Roxanne has helped her and tremendously. And I think she's going to be a force to be reckoned with here soon. I'm glad to see that they're building more main event talents. Even if it did come at the cost of Lyra, she still put on a heck of a performance, and she'll get back up there. But Raquel is looking fantastic, and I can't wait to next week to see Lyra and Roxanne go at it. I think that will be a good match as well, because Lyra is really good in the ring, and so is Roxanne. So it ought to be a good match. But moving on, we got the segment of AJ Lee coming out and giving a promo, which was absolutely fantastic. She has proven why she's loved by everybody. She has a great personality in the ring. She looked comfortable. And it just is amazing to see her there, and it's amazing to see her back. Then she got interrupted by Becky Lynch while she's holding Becky Lynch's Intercontinental Championship, and they go back and forth. And then Seth Rollins comes out like he's going to step in the ring and take that title away from AJ. And then we get Punk out there, and Punk goes for a GTS and doesn't get it. And Seth Rollins gets out of the ring, and they make it official for WrestlePalooza. AJ Lee and CM Punk versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. And I'm telling you, I'm excited for the match. I think it's going to be a fantastic match. I think it's going to be awesome to watch. And from what I gather, AJ Lee has signed a multi-year deal, which gives us good matches going forward with her, dream matches that we would want to see. One of them being, I would like to see her in the ring with Roxanne Perez. I'd like to see her in the ring with Lyra Valkyria too. There's just so many people I want to see AJ Lee face while she's still with us and before she leaves again. But again, overall, great segment. Got me excited for WrestlePalooza. as it should. And in my opinion, I think they need to make it. I think it would be cooler if they done it kind of like they did. Who was it? Carmella, I believe, and Baron Corbin that fought Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch for both their titles. They need to do something like that again. I think that would be awesome for them to do. But there again, I think they're leading up for CM Punk to take the title off Seth Rollins at a later date. That's what I think. Yeah, so we will see what happens. We still got Raw next week where they're supposed to meet face to face. So we will get to see what happens there. Moving on to the next match that we had was a good match as well. Was Penta versus Rusev. And I tell you what, I love what they're doing with Rusev. And this might be controversial to some people. I think Rusev is a future world champion. I think if they get him down, get his character down, and really work with him, I think he could be a top star as well. I love seeing him in new matchups now that the Sheamus and Rusev matches are out of the way. I love seeing him with new matchups, fresh matchups. And I honestly thought they were going to give the win to Penta, but they ended up letting Rusev take the victory here. And I think it was a good idea to give the victory to Rusev. He looked awesome in there. And I like I said, I see him being a future world champion. I don't see him being the one to take the title off of Dom, the Intercontinental Championship. I don't see him taking it off of Dom, but there again, you never know. But I think they could build him up to be Gunther-like, if that makes sense. Build him up so he is as strong as what Gunther looks in the ring. And man, what a match that would be later on, Rusev and Gunther. But they could build him up that way. And I think eventually they will. And by the way, these matches, Penta and Rusev, and the next match I want to talk about will make more sense when I get into the backstage segments. If you'd like me to do this a different way, please leave me a comment and tell me, and I'll set it up a different way. This is just the way I set it up. But moving on, it was Nikki Bella versus Asuka in kind of a short match. It wasn't a long match. I think it's because it's building up to something else, which we will get into when it comes to the backstage segments. But I think it was what it needed to be. And again, I love Nikki, but I just, can she keep up with today's talent is the question. Maybe it's part of her character right now. Could be. I don't know. But we will see. But again, I think they're leading to something else. Asuka is fantastic. I've always loved Asuka. I think she's underrated sometimes. But anyways, moving on to our main event of the evening, it was Bronson Reed versus LA Knight. Again, kind of a shorter match, but to me, it got the point across. But there again, I don't understand the point. I don't. I think it would have hurt Bronson Reed to lose, and I think as much as they don't want to say it, I think it hurts LA Knight to lose as well. Like, they got him in this feud with Seth Rollins, but we moved on from that. Now it's with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, but so is the Usos, so he's kind of the odd man out, and they're making you really see that he's the odd man out. But we got this match. It was kind of a shorter match, but again, not a bad match, where Bronson Reed picked up the victory, and then they started attacking LA Knight, and then we got Jimmy Uso out there, and they got the best of Jimmy, and then Jay comes out, and they get the best of Jay as well, and they're getting ready to do a tsunami on the Usos, and LA Knight comes in with a chair and stops it. And then you see him walk up to Jay and say, "Are we good?" And Jay doesn't answer him. So he goes up to Jimmy, picks Jimmy up, gives him a little hug, and then out of nowhere, Jay spears LA Knight and saying, "Yeah, we're good now. We're good now." Um, I'll get into more of that here in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and go into the backstage segments. So, how we got the main event was LA Knight going off on Adam Pearce saying he wants a Braun, whether it's Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, LeBron James, and a couple other Brauns. I would love to see him take on LeBron James. That would have been nice. But instead, we got Bronson Reed. But that was a way to set up that match. And then to set up the Nikki Bella and Asuka match, we got a segment between Nikki and Io where Asuka interrupts and goes off on Nikki, and Nikki says, you're gonna respect me, and she said, I'll beat the respect out of you. And that set up that match later on in the show. And again, I guess they're pushing for Io to stop being friends with Asuka and Kairi Sane, but they're also hinting at Kairi Sane to get away from Asuka as well. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. But the next segment we got, which set up the Penta and Rusev match, was Penta saying that he needs a title shot, and Rusev coming up saying he needs a title shot, and they go back and forth, and he sets a match for the first time ever, Penta versus Rusev, which I think was fantastic again. Again, Rusev, I think if they continue to work with him, he will be a future world champion. That's just my opinion. The next segment we got was Jimmy asked him where Jay was, and he finally found him. And Jay said he didn't give a crap about LA Knight, didn't give a crap about his match. And was leaving, and he said he's going to start thinking for himself. And Jimmy pretty much told him, you're talking like Roman Reigns. And so, in my opinion, I think we're going to get a heel turn at some point in the near future. I know it kind of seems kind of obvious. I don't want to say it seems kind of. It might seem obvious because they could totally take it a different way, but I made this wild prediction in my Clash in Paris predictions, and I'm going to stick with it. Maybe they do it. Maybe do it at WrestlePalooza to give an ultra shocking moment at WrestlePalooza, and I'm going to say Jay turns heel and joins the Vision. Whether that's at WrestlePalooza, I don't know. But I do think they are setting up Jay to join the Vision. Because the Vision's all about building up new stars. And Roman's told him that he needs to start thinking of himself. And Seth could be in his ear and telling him stuff too. And you got history between Jay and Paul Heyman. And then Jay and Seth were friends at one point. It would be awesome storytelling, and I could see a world where Jey Uso joins the Vision. I can see a world where he joins them. The next backstage segment we got on Raw was Jimmy Uso and LA Knight, talking how Jay screwed him out of the World Championship and how Jimmy screwed him out of the WWE Championship early on against Roman, and that he doesn't need no help. Just kind of the same stuff they do. I don't need your help, but you're going to help me anyway, type thing. And then we got an interesting backstage moment between Dominic Mysterio and the Judgment Day. And it's like Dom is distancing himself from the Judgment Day. I was kind of on the fence that we were going to get a Finn Balor leaving the Judgment Day type situation, but it may be Dominic Mysterio leaving the Judgment Day type situation. I think something will happen with that. I think something will happen with El Grande Americano, and it will lead to a split up of the Judgment Day. Don't know if they'll just get rid of the whole faction or they'll just take Dom out, but I think if you take Dominic Mysterio out of Judgment Day, you should just get rid of the faction itself. Because Finn Balor, I love Finn Balor. Finn Balor should be a leader, but he don't show leadership in that group. And I just don't see a world where they keep it going and like that. So I would rather see Finn Balor branch off and be Finn Balor, because Finn Balor is really good at his job and deserves to be a world champion one day again. And I think they're just wasting his talent on the Judgment Day. I mean, that's just my opinion. I was all for it at first, but they keep dragging it on to where now I just think they're wasting his talent on Judgment Day when they could be using him in key moments, key matches, and bring Demon Finn Balor back. I would love to see Demon Finn Balor again. But anyways, moving on to the last segment we got of the night, which was Nikki, Bella, and Asuka trying to fight again, go round 2. And this time Rhea Ripley steps in to help Nikki. I think what this is insinuating, I think they're going for a tag team match at WrestlePalooza with Rhea Ripley and Nikki Bella versus the Kabuki Warriors. I think that's what that's going to lead to eventually. Well, I say eventually. It'd be next week if it led to it. I could see it lead to that next week. We will see for sure on that. But that's all the segments we had. A pretty good Raw. Overall, is pretty good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it. I'm just going to be honest with you. Raw is beating SmackDown right now. Now don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the John Cena Sami Zayn match. I enjoyed the return of AJ Lee. But man, I don't know. It wasn't the same as Raw. And I'm usually a SmackDown guy, so seeing SmackDown suffer it stinks. I hate seeing it, and I'm sure that they'll pick back up. But no, Raw really done a good job tonight. You got a lot of big stars on Raw. I think they need to implement another draft, even though it don't really matter. Your main event of SmackDown was all Raw superstars, so I mean, I don't think it really matters that much. But I wish they would make it matter. I loved when there was a actual brand split and you stayed on your brand and you had your feuds, and then there'd be a draft and you get on to another show, and I just loved it. I loved it that way. I wish they would go back, but I don't see them going back anytime soon. But yeah, the only wild prediction I have for this one is Jey Uso turning heel. I think that's in the near future, and I see him going with the vision, and that's his way of thinking for himself. Maybe we get a Jimmy Uso push out of this. I really hope so. I love Jimmy Uso. I think he's so funny, and I think he's good in the ring. He's just as good as his brother in the ring. So we will see, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you thought of Raw, and tell me if you would like me to do it a different way. And I will take that in consideration. I'll get to the comments as soon as I see them. I will get to them if I can. And I really enjoy making videos, and I stay tuned for the next video. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet, but I'm thinking about doing a review on older pay-per-views. I think it might be fun. Please let me know what you think, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Thank you, guys.